ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles. Yes, this time on Dan's Card Corner, we have the Beatles collection. 5 packs of them. Each one with a different photo on the front of the wrapper. So, nice variety right off the bat. So these are from 1993. Apple Corp. Limited. The cards themselves from the River Group, 10 cards per pack. Special offer, the Beatles Card Collector album. I'm guessing that special offer is long expired. Got to get them into your life. I see what they did there. So yeah, these are far from the first Beatles trading cards. I mean, the earliest ones, actually, I don't even know if they're the earliest, but there was a set from O-Pee-Chee from like the mid-60s or so. Still, you know, a relatively early Beatles era, and they may not have been the first ones either. But yeah, 93, I guess that was, without actually looking up the release dates, that was probably around the time of the Beatles anthology, maybe a couple of years after that. But, I mean, that was a big deal when that came out. So yeah, commemorative set here. Don't see anything on the wrapper saying how many cards are in the set, but well, we should have a nice variety with 5 packs of them. That just turned out to be the most cost-effective package to pick up. So let's crack open pack number 1 of these and see what we find. This is, I guess you could say, a magical mystery tour of the contents of these packs. Alright, so we have a nice on-stage shot there. So by the time of the Revolver album in 1966, George Harrison was really beginning to assert himself as a songwriter. So this is nice. You get, you know, a nice, you know, write-up on the back, some Beatles facts. Contributed 3 songs to a single album for the first time, including Taxman. And The Driving Rocker, I want to tell you. During the filming of Help in '65, George had become interested in Indian culture and instrumentation. That interest was reflected on the 3rd Harrison Revolver track, Love You Too, which included the use of a sitar and the Indian percussion instrument tabla. And speaking of the Beatles in India, there's a nice shot of that period. So I guess this is the on-stage insert series. This is from the off-stage, and it looks like this is card number 193, so this is a big set, apparently. Yeah, 165 for that last one. The Beatles were always looking for deeper meaning to their success, as well as deeper meaning to their lives. There's a little bit earlier period. That's them accepting the prestigious MBE award. This looks like, yeah, I was thinking probably Magical Mystery Tour period. Yeah, there you go. There's kind of a classic promo shot there. So that talks about Ringo joining the group. There's Sir Paul, and kind of a nice portrait shot there, and actually we have one of John behind that. So, yeah, I guess these are not necessarily from the same set of portrait cards, since this is 133, John is only 51 in the set. So I haven't seen any of the card numbers go up into the 200s yet, so I'm guessing maybe it's a 200 card set. We have high 100s, but I haven't seen anything over 200 yet. I know I could just look it up, but, well, I could always put that in an editing. So, yeah, I'll look that up, and if I can find it, I will put the number of total cards in this set right here. How about that? Now you know. So this is plans for a ticker tape parade for the Beatles on their first full-length U.S. tour, which commenced in San Francisco. But in that it was not yet a full year since the assassination of President Kennedy, the Beatles and their management decided to forestall the plan before it could proceed too far. By that time, however, the Saturday Evening Post had decided to prepare a feature, had decided to prepare for an early fall edition with a studio mock-up of the ticker tape parade, which never actually happened. So that's what this is a picture of, this phantom parade that never actually happened. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that story, but that's a fun one. I mean, except for the JFK assassination part, I suppose, but, well, you know what I mean. So here we have off stage once again. Maybe their faces don't show it, but you're looking at 5 very excited young men. This photo was taken in Paris late on the January 1964 day that they received the fateful telegram that they'd achieved #1 on the British, sorry, not the British, on the US charts. That's the telegram in George's hand. He was happily rereading the news that I Want to Hold Your Hand had made it to the top. The Beatles joined Brian Epstein, that was their manager, of course, and George Martin, their producer, for dinner that night, then went back to their room at the probably the George V Hotel, for some more celebrating. The Beatles had conquered America. So, yeah, there's George holding the telegram there. There's another on-stage shot that is from Royal Albert. I can't talk on this one. That's from Royal Albert Hall. Other acts on the bill included American rocker Del Shannon, British George singer George Melly, and Australian hitmaker Rolf Harris of Timey Kangaroo Down Sport. We don't need to go into what he later, what was later revealed about him. Yeah, cool cards, you know, nice sort of retrospective. You get a lot of nice history with the quotes on the back, and, you know, some fun stuff that I didn't know about, like this Phantom Parade. So let's see what's in pack #2. I have an aunt who's a major Beatles fan and collector, so she'd love these cards too. Didn't want to open. All right, so we have card #3 right on the back there. All right, so there's another on stage. It's a long way from I Want to Hold Your Hand to Revolution, but that is exactly the distance the Beatles traveled from 1963 to 1968. That is, when you think about it, that is pretty amazing, just the breadth of what they accomplished during their career as a band, which really was not that long when you think about it. You know, pretty much a decade. You know, I mean, how many bands have been around far longer than that you know, don't necessarily have that same level of influence. And this is actually card #200. There's another Sir Paul shot. A charismatic bass player of the Fab Four. Paul McCartney was born in Liverpool on June 18th, 1942. There's Ringo with his Grammy Award. Not an actual Grammy, but it does bring to mind all the Grammys that they won. There's the cover of A Hard Day's Night. And on the back it looks like just a track listing there. Which is also useful too, because a lot of those, especially I guess that sort of first half of the Beatles albums, maybe some of the later ones too, but certainly a lot of those early Beatles albums had like wildly different track listings between the UK and the US versions, and this has both versions listed. So there's in the TV studio. Television played a pivotal role in the launching of the Beatles. There's John again. There's another group shot. That is talking about Christmas 1963, when they could no longer go shopping like ordinary mortals. So I'm guessing that's when that picture's from. There is another sort of on-stage shot of John, but it is part of the off-stage series. There's George. 1964 in Miami. In his very early days. That's from the Cavern Club. And that's it for pack #2. No repeats yet, so I guess having a huge number of cards in the set helps with that. But yeah, it looks like it's 200. We saw card #200, but I haven't seen any numbers higher than that. So there's in the studio. After giving up the road in 1966, they withdrew to the recording studio to begin work on their next project. First, they issued Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields Forever as a single. I guess that could probably be considered a double A side, right? And there's kind of a classic, the sort of final and the alternate shot of the Abbey Road cover. Looks like an early TV appearance. That's actually not the backdrop. I was going to say the Ed Sullivan Show, but that's not the backdrop they had on that. This is from... Oh, I guess this is the rehearsal for the Ed Sullivan Show. There is, I was going to say, probably from Help, and I'm right. This is actually kind of a write-up on the movie of Help. There's, hello? Thanks, Tabby. There's kind of a maritime Beatles shot. There's another on stage. And there's the Sullivan Show again. Yeah. There's another promo shot. Oh, that's in New York City. That must be one of the handsome cabs that they may or may not have commandeered here. It's Tabby. All right, come on, come on. There's another full band promo shot. This is actually from the trailer for A Hard Day's Night. I haven't seen that in a very long time, or Help for that matter. I should watch those again at some point. So yeah, another promo shot there. This is December 1964. All right, 2 packs left. This looks like maybe the Shea Stadium concert, perhaps? Oh no, this is Candlestick Park. Okay. That's I've seen this one quite a bit, and this one too. Yeah, kind of one of the standard promo shots here from the later era. And one of the earlier era kind of classic promo shots. Enough hair to hide 2 watermelons was the ridiculous and less than flattering description. Tabby, have some decency. Was the less than flattering description given to the Beatles' tonsorial arrangements by a Hollywood press agent. Undeterred, they developed their own style from the first tentative fringes of their Hamburg days to the thick thatches of middle period mop top in 1965 and 66. Their leadership certainly changed the look of tens of millions of young men all around the world. At which point a cab probably rolled past Mo Howard, opened the window and said, it's been done. So seeds for the Magical Mystery Tour were planted in America in April of 1967. There's another early days promo. Yeah, the classic look: black suits, black socks, black silk knotted ties, boots with Cuban heels, and they were also black, of course. And there's the Magical Mystery Tour cover. So yeah, like the Meet the Beatles cover we saw earlier. This has the track listing on the back. There's a candid of Sir Paul. And There's another award, it looks like. Silver disc presented to the Beatles by George Martin at the British Disc Award ceremony in 1963. Gave generously good value on their albums, mostly 14 tracks per album release, up to and including Sgt. Pepper, with the exception of A Hard Day's Night and Help. And with the exception of those two, their singles did not come from albums. And another on stage. What's wrong with this picture? There are no screaming young girls in it. They appeared at the Stowe School in 1963, which was an all-boys private school. The students were very enthusiastic but polite and restrained. Did they mind? On the contrary, it was quite refreshing to actually hear themselves play and sing for the first time in a long while. I've always heard that, like at the Shea Stadium concert and, others, Candlestick Park, and a lot of the big concerts that they, literally couldn't hear themselves playing. The crowd was so loud. And finally, pack number 5. This one also doesn't want to open. These are pretty nice quality, too, just as far as the print quality goes. As I say, I don't think it's showing up on camera. This particular card on the back has a little bit of a, kind of a bump on the back of it. So there's Lennon's I Am the Walrus. Was the first recording the Beatles commenced after the death of Brian Epstein. This is a classic shot. They actually had done this shot twice. They did it for the Get Back album in 1969, which became Let It Be. It was on the cover of, I believe it was Please Please Me. And then it was the cover of Let It Be. And they were also used, those two respective shots, as the covers for the Red and Blue albums, which were the compilations, which I think came on vinyl first. They were actually the first Beatles albums I had, too, on CD. But yeah, it was like the Red album, and that was not the official name. It was officially well, it probably says on the back here, I'll get the dates right, 1962 to 66, and then the Blue album was 67 to 1970, so it was one was a compilation of the greatest hits of the early period, and then the other greatest hits of the later period. But yeah, they used this as the cover for the Blue album, too. So there's another early days promo shot. This one I think is a repeat. I think this might be the first repeat we've seen, but yeah, that's from the Magical Mystery Tour. This shot gives me an idea. Here's $1 million licensing idea for Apple or whoever owns the Beatles rights now. I guess it's not Michael Jackson anymore, right? But yeah, think about this, how there's Super Mario Kart has had all kinds of kind of knockoffs for other licensed properties. Some good, some bad. I mean, like Chocobo Racing, Squaresoft's kart racer was actually pretty decent. I think there was a Nickelodeon one that, I don't know, was that one supposed to be okay? I forget now. Yeah, but yeah, here's your $1 million idea. Beatles kart racing. That'd sell like gangbusters. Anyway, it's another, I'm guessing posed candid of Paul. Reading one of his own fan magazines. The lead rhythm and bass guitarists of the Beatles really, quote, get down in the dressing room, ironing out something that was needed to get absolutely right for the tight 12-song set to follow. Dropping them. I didn't want to dig my fingernail into any cards. So this is Jukebox Jury on the BBC. This looks like maybe Hard Day's Night era. Yeah. And there's an early and rather badass Ringo there. So yeah, these are pretty fun. You know, nice card quality, big set. So we only, in 5 packs, we only, I think, had one repeat card. You know, a lot to choose from. I'm guessing it's a 200 card set because we saw a card number 200, but I don't recall seeing any numbers higher than that. Admittedly, towards the last couple of packs, I stopped paying attention to the numbers, but at any rate, yeah, these are pretty good and pretty affordable. I mean, even though they're obviously a big property for cards, I guess there probably have been enough Beatles sets over the years that they aren't particularly expensive. The last time I checked on when I was looking on eBay and I saw the listing for this, there were even like singles of those early 60s O-Pee-Chee cards, which may or may not have been the first Beatles trading cards, but even those, if they were ungraded, even those as singles were not that expensive. So yeah, I'm guessing it's a case where even though it's an extremely popular property, there's probably enough product out there that it's relatively affordable if you are interested in collecting these. And yeah, again, the print quality is nice. Let me find that Magical Mystery Tour one, simply because we had 2 of it. There it is. So yeah, I'm not gonna bend it or anything, but you know, just in case. It is, you know, decent cardstock, kind of nicely glossy on the fronts, maybe slightly less glossy on the backs, but you know, sharp corners, which can be good or bad. You know, when they're sharp like that, they are easier to potentially get banged up, I guess. But yeah, pretty solid in terms of actual print quality and you know, the paper quality and all of that. So yeah, not a bad set to collect if you're a Beatles fan, I would say. So if you are a fan, check these out. I'm sure you can find more sealed packs like I did, or if you just want to buy singles, I'm sure that's probably not a whole lot more expensive, might even be cheaper, since again, some of these probably are not terribly expensive. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I don't know why I say goodbye, I say hello. See you next time.